They weren't just feared, they were hated. A team that played like outlaws in a league desperately trying to clean up its image. Champions? Yes. But also the most controversial, most violent, most dirty dynasty football had ever seen. This is the real story of the 1970s Oakland Raiders. You've never heard it like this before. Before we dive into this chaos, hit that subscribe button because we're about to expose the darkest secrets of NFL history that the league doesn't want you to remember. It's the 1970s. The NFL is trying to become America's game, but it's still a bloodbath. Players are bigger, meaner, and the rules, well, let's just say player safety wasn't exactly priority number one. Enter Al Davis, owner, general manager, and certified renegade. His motto wasn't just win baby, it was win by any means necessary. While other teams wore pretty colors and tried to be America's sweethearts, the Raiders embraced darkness, silver and black, skulls and crossbones. They looked like villains because they were villains. But here's what the NFL history books won't tell you. Their path to glory was paved with broken bones, shattered careers, and controversies so dark they changed the rules of football forever. And by the end of this video, you'll question everything you thought you knew about championship football. The Oakland Raiders weren't always monsters. In fact, they were pathetic. Founded in 1960, they were the laughingstock of the AFL, losing seasons, no identity, no respect. But Al Davis had a vision that would terrify the entire league. Davis didn't want nice guys.
Just win, baby.
He wanted psychopaths with shoulder pads, and boy, did he find them. Meet Jack Tatum, the assassin, and that wasn't some cute media nickname. This man literally tried to decapitate people for a living. Opponents would rather face a firing squad than cross the middle against Tatum. Ted Hendricks, the Mad Stork, 6'7" of pure chaos. He'd line up in impossible positions, do unpredictable things, and drive offensive coordinators to therapy. And Kenny Stabler, the Snake. While other quarterbacks studied playbooks, Stabler studied the art of barely controlled chaos. He played football like he was in a bar fight, and it worked. By the mid-70s, they weren't just winning, they were terrorizing. But here's the twisted part. They didn't just beat teams, they broke them, physically, mentally, and they were proud of it. But what if I told you their most legendary players were actually just legalized criminals? Keep watching, because the evidence is about to blow your mind. Let's talk numbers, and these numbers will shock you. From 1970 to 1979, the Oakland Raiders led the NFL in penalties 6 different seasons. 6. That's not passion, that's pathological. Rival players called them undisciplined thugs. Referees dreaded Raiders games. One official said working a Raiders game was like refereeing a prison riot. December 23, 1972. The Immaculate Reception. Yeah, the Steelers got the controversial call, but that game showcased the Raiders' physical, intimidating style that made every opponent fear crossing the middle. But this is where it gets criminal. The Holy Roller, 1978. Raiders are losing with seconds left. Kenny Stabler fumbles forward on purpose. His teammates accidentally keep batting it toward the end zone until Dave Casper falls on it for the winning touchdown. Legal? Technically. Dirty? Absolutely. The NFL changed the rule immediately. The Raiders had found a loophole and exploited it like the football pirates they were. August 12, 1978. This is the hit that changed everything. Jack Tatum destroys Darryl Stingley with a devastating blow. Stingley never walked again. Tatum's response? It was part of the game. No apology, no remorse. He later wrote a book called They Call Me Assassin and bragged about ending careers. But the dirty play was just the beginning. Al Davis was waging war against the NFL itself. Lawsuits against Commissioner Pete Rozelle, fights over relocations. The Raiders weren't just rebels on the field. They were trying to destroy the league from within. And if you think that's bad, wait until you hear what happened when they actually won the Super Bowl. The celebration was more controversial than the season itself. January 9th, 1977, Super Bowl 11. The Raiders finally reached the mountaintop. They demolished the Minnesota Vikings 32-14. They were champions. But even their finest moment was shadowed by controversy. Even in the Super Bowl, they led the game in penalties. They couldn't help themselves. It was like they were allergic to playing clean football. The swagger was intoxicating. The confidence was magnetic. They looked like rock stars and played like gladiators. America had never seen anything like it. But here's the thing that haunts Raiders fans to this day. Compare them to their biggest rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls in the 70s. 4. They were tough but respectful, dominant but disciplined. They're remembered as a dynasty. The Raiders? 1 championship. 1. Their own dirty play cost them multiple championships. Stupid penalties in crucial moments, ejections of key players. They were their own worst enemy. By 1978, the controversies were outweighing the glory. The Darryl Stingley incident had labeled them as villains forever. Their reputation was toxic. What if the Raiders had just played clean football? What if they'd channeled their talent instead of their rage? They might have been the greatest dynasty in NFL history instead of the most controversial. So here's the million-dollar question that NFL fans have debated for 45 years. Were the 1970s Oakland Raiders a championship dynasty, or just the dirtiest team in football history, disguised as winners? The evidence is overwhelming. They terrorized opponents. They broke rules. They showed zero sportsmanship. They treated football like warfare. But they also won a Super Bowl. They dominated the AFC for years. They created legends that still inspire fear decades later. Here's what's really wild. The NFL they helped create with their chaos is the exact opposite of what they represented. Every player safety rule, every sportsmanship initiative, every Protect the Shield campaign exists because of teams like the Raiders. They were pioneers of intimidation, masters of psychological warfare. They understood that football wasn't just a game, it was a battle for your soul. But I want to know what you think. Drop a comment right now, dynasty or disgrace, because I'm about to give you my final verdict, and it might surprise you. Here's my take, and this might be controversial. The 1970s Oakland Raiders were exactly what football needed. Not what it wanted, but what it needed. They were the villains in football's greatest story. Every hero needs a villain, and the Raiders played that role perfectly. They made every game feel dangerous, every hit feel personal, every victory feel earned. But they also showed us what happens when you choose chaos over discipline. You value fear over respect, when you prioritize intimidation over inspiration. The Raiders didn't just change football, they revealed its soul, the beautiful, brutal, completely insane soul that made us fall in love with this violent ballet in the first place. If this blew your mind, you need to subscribe right now, because next week I'm exposing another so-called legendary NFL team whose dark secrets will make the Raiders look like choir boys. Some teams earn respect, others earn fear. The Raiders earned both, but in the end, they proved that sometimes the most memorable legends are the ones written in blood. This has been the real story of the Oakland Raiders, the truth the NFL doesn't want you to remember. Until next time, stay dangerous. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. The NFL's darkest secrets aren't going to expose themselves, and trust me, we're just getting started.